Decibel System, we're back.
Here we are.
Episode
guys?
4.
Good
Gosh,
day.
4 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They
All
say
right.
fourth time's the charm.
Do
Is
they?
that what
Do
they
they
say?
really?
No.
So pretty sure that it was third time's the charm.
Sometimes I intentionally just say the wrong thing.
Oh, well, that poses great for our podcast.
I like to keep you guys on your toes.
So now we're going to have fact check you.
For sure.
Well, now we really can't get mad at Mark for calling you the wrong name.
That's
That's
true.
true.
Ah,
That's
that's
Yeah.
say
right.
the wrong thing.
That's right.
Michael.
That's right. I
Michael.
welcome it. I know. Hi, everybody. I'm Michael. the Dewey Decibel guy. Happy to
I'm
be
working on, you guys will appreciate this. I'm working on a Methuselah Eclipse shirt.
Stop
oh
it.
my gosh! Stop.
I'm doing it. Is
Stop it.
happening. It is happening.
For all of you listeners who are just now turning in
Turning in.
for the night.
Tuning
See?
in.
Turning in for the night. Tuning in.
Anyone who tries to fall asleep listening to this, I'm really
I
sorry.
know for
Sorry.
sure.
I'm sorry. They might
not a
fall
good
asleep
idea.
during my book quiz. I listened to that. It's pretty long.
I was
It's not
interested in that.
boring, but it is long.
Okay.
Well,
right on.
People can play the book quiz at home.
That's right. They can
Right?
play
It's
along.
true.
That's my
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
You know, they can see how many they got.
Right.
See if they can beat our 70.
Right on. Cool.
We challenge you.
Email
yes.
us.
Yes. Email us. Comment.
Just
whatever.
don't leave a nasty comment. Just be like, hey
Yeah, we'll
guys.
delete those.
Yeah, for sure. I read more books than you. Not like you guys aren't smart enough at all.
No, if they read more books than us, we'll delete that one too.
Okay, all right.
We
I
have to
guess
be
it's
the smart
because
ones.
we're jealous.
No,
we're very
won't delete
jealous
that
of
one.
you.
We'll be color me impressed though. I mean, we
I know.
collectively read 70.
You on your Facebook page, April. You asked your friends how many
And
they had
actually,
read.
I was going to bring that up because I averaged it out.
Yeah.
I had my friends on Facebook take the quiz as well and let me know how many they actually had completed. And I averaged it out, and on average, out of the 25 people that responded, they have read 34 books
Wow.
on that list.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you get people to engage with you on your personal Facebook page? Do you just do you just like have a bunch of engaged friends? I try to engage people. The reason I ask this is I try to engage people on my personal Facebook page. You know, I feel like I'm doing good work in the world. And for those of you who don't know, like I have a couple books out. I'm a poet. This is not a plug. It's just discussion.
Shameless plug.
Right on.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Shameless
shameless plug. But then I like post stuff on my person. I'm like, hey guys, would you respond to this? Then my entire Facebook community is just like, no. Show me another picture of your daughter though, and you'll get 96 likes. And my daughter
You know
is
what
the
I
most
hate?
awesome thing in the world. But help me out, Facebook.
Well, so I hate it when you post something that's like, hey, I need input or I need this or whatever, and someone
Right.
likes it.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
That's great.
Oh my God, that reminds me of something. We're in this. I actually just left the group because it got to be way too much. But my best friend is in this group, All Things Broadway. He's a musical theater nut. He has written musicals. He's a composer. He's fantastic, very very talented. But he was crowdsourcing to find audition songs for his vocal range, and no one responded.
Oh, that would
but
kill
he
me.
got one like.
Mhm. Oh,
absolutely
no,
kill me.
It's like that.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was helpful.
A similar story. I'm in a group for like area runners, and I'm training for a marathon right now, and I need a 20-mile route because what I do right now is I run, like 2.5 mile loops, and I can't do that 10 times. I think I would lose my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I can see
I
that.
posted in the group, hey, does anybody have a 20-miler that they like a lot? Can you share it? And a person liked it. And I sat there and I was like, okay, if this just gets one like and nobody responds, I'm just going to erase the post, whatever. But people did, respond.
Good.
But here's the thing too. So, this one girl responded, hey, I'm glad to share Garmin maps with you. Just DM me your email address, whatever. I was like, awesome, thanks. Well, then these guys said, actually, I like to run loops because you can stash water and fuel and all that. So then it became a debate as to whether or not I should run these 2.5 mile loops. And I'm like,
Right.
listen, I'm telling you, I don't want to do that. So,
Oh my God.
so yeah, I just quit engaging
Yeah.
because then I'm like, well, okay, did I actually want advice? Because people were trying to give me advice and they meant really well.
Yeah.
But then I got sort of not mad. Mad's the wrong word, but just kind of annoyed, I guess,
Yeah.
that they were giving me advice.
So that's kind of the thing with social media.
It's
You
so
put something
funny
out
that
there,
way.
you have
I
no
know.
control over what you're going to get back.
I'm telling you, man. And what happened to PM? You just said DMCC. That means direct message, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying PM from the beginning
Well,
of
that
social
works,
media.
too.
I feel like
Well,
that's not
I
cool
feel like
though,
DM is
anymore.
like Instagram and Twitter. They
yeah,
call it DM,
that
right?
Right.
Direct message, it's new to Facebook.
Uh-huh.
You can now direct message someone, which is ridiculous. Like,
Well-
I can already message someone.
Well, but see, this girl and I are not friends on Facebook. So
Oh.
I could just add her on Facebook Messenger and send her a message.
Uh-huh.
Which was
okay.
nice
Right.
because
See, I do that.
otherwise
I've
it
done
would be
that with a
hidden in
couple
her
people,
like
yeah.
hidden inbox forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hidden inbox. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, I had something. Somebody was wanting. I don't even remember what it was about, but it was something for the news, and they had messaged me on Facebook wanting to talk to me
Oh,
about
yeah.
it, and I found it 2 years later.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens.
because
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I do appreciate that Facebook does that.
Yeah, it
because-
is
For
great.
sure, for
Because you
sure.
do
Absolutely.
get some interesting messages if you've gone through your hidden inbox.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Facebook, I loved all the back to school photos yesterday.
Oh man,
I'm
they
one of those
were
people that
just
like
a
doesn't
poppin'.
have kids. That's just
Right.
like, oh yes, back to school photos.
Right
Yay.
on.
Yeah, some years I love it, and of course I put mine out there, but obligatory back to school.
But your kids are
photo.
different.
Right on, right on.
You know,
Your kids are cool though.
my kids are cool. Oh man, they'll love to hear that.
Not unlike everybody else's children who are listening to this podcast.
Absolutely, all
They
of
are
their kids are
also
awesome.
But
quite
their
cool.
photo shoot was pretty cool.
Yeah, they were like funny, right?
Alex
yeah,
is
they
so
were
funny,
cute.
though.
Alex is
Alex is her son. by
Alex
the
is
way.
my son. He's 15, and he is he's a character.
Yeah, right
He's
on.
quite a character. He's a weirdo, but
Yeah.
I love him that way.
Yeah.
And then Katie is my daughter. She's 13 and quite the drama queen,
Right
as
on.
most 13-year-olds are.
So of course, when we were kids, our parents didn't have Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
But did your mom and dad make you take a photo?
I
On the
not
first
like
day?
every year. Now it's become the thing.
It
You,
has
you take a
definitely
picture,
become the thing.
Yeah.
first grade, and you do the collage and all this
Yeah.
stuff. I don't do that. I don't care. But I'm like, I'll take the pictures because it's fun, and it's fun to show up in my memories and look at those. But I remember, I think 6th grade, going into middle school. My mom did, but most of the rest of the time, I don't remember like first day of school pictures.
Me neither at all. I think we went to Olin Mills twice in my entire childhood. Once, like right after I was born,
Do
and
they
then
still have Olin Mills?
No,
Is that still a thing?
Gone.
Are
They
they?
gone now?
And then-
Man.
But they were still in operation as. I mean, the kids had baby pictures taken there.
Really?
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, for
So
sure.
they were in operation as recently as like 10 years ago, I
Hmm.
think.
I'm pretty sure my parents were like, we'll remember it. You went to school. It's fine.
I mean, my mom definitely took a first day photo. I don't know if it was every year, but I remember it because my brother James and I hated it so
on,
much.
Right.
We did not like to have our photo taken at
Mhm.
all. We're not very photogenic. We're both goofy,
Mhm.
like we don't know how to
Totally.
pose. It's just it never worked out very
So
well.
that's when you do the intentionally
Well-
awkward family
Well,
photos.
and we kind of did, but
Nice.
just to like get on my mom's nerves.
Right.
So,
Yes.
Totally.
but because bless her heart, she wanted a good photo. I think maybe the only good first day photo we ever took, it was my first day of first grade. So James would have been like 2
Oh.
2 or 3. So he wasn't going to school, obviously,
Uh-huh.
but he posed with me because he's
Aw.
cute. And I had this denim backpack,
Perfect.
and
already.
it had a
Side pony.
already. No, but I think
Two
I
pairs
had
of
like a French
socks.
braid with like a bunch of bangs
Oh,
going
right.
on.
All right.
Yes.
I may have had the 2 socks.
The
yes.
2 socks, tight rolled pants.
Totally.
No, I had
Totally.
like a skirt on,
Oh, okay. Well,
which
here,
is
it's a little hard to tight roll a skirt.
it's true. No, I wasn't doing that in first grade. But the
Slow
best,
down.
but hey, the best part of this though is I had a gigantic button on the back of my denim backpack
Oh.
of Jordan Knight. from New Kids
Oh,
on the Block.
right. Yes.
I mean, this button was
Yes.
like almost as big as my head.
Nice.
It was so giant.
Nice.
That is fantastic.
So
Did you
there's
know
just
who New
like-
Kids on the Block was? at
Oh
the time?
yeah.
Okay.
Dude.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You were
Just
hanging
checking.
tough with that
Well,
button.
so-
Hanging
So my 2 best friends had older siblings.
Uh-huh.
So basically, we knew of everything cool because of them.
Oh yeah.
Right.
yeah.
For
So
sure.
even in first grade, we
Yeah.
were all up in.
That
New
is
Kids on the Block.
fantastic.
When it comes to these things, just bringing it just a little bit more current. These things that trend on Facebook, right? So it's so it's yesterday was back to school photos. That's awesome. And listen, as I've already mentioned, I have a kid. She's about to turn 1. I can't wait for her to go to school, and I'm sure I'll post the picture on Facebook, right?
You better.
But you guys know this about me. Listeners, maybe not so much. I'm super rebellious.
Oh yeah.
When I see, I'm like, I have such a streak that I have to keep in check. And when I see these, when I see these things trending on Facebook, do you know what I want to do? I want to take a photo of me, like dressed like a child, like maybe put my hair in pigtails and like I don't know, like do something.
This just took a turn.
Right?
Why have you not done this?
And like have
Because
like
please do this.
have a lunchbox and like wear like a New Kids on the Block shirt or something and be like, look,
Brady,
I'm going
I will come and
back
take the
to
picture.
school. You know?
I will come and take the picture
It's
next
not,
year.
but it's just not nice because it's me making fun of every kid I see on Facebook, which I
Well-
don't actually want to do, but I totally want to
I
do
don't
it.
see it as mean.
No,
I see it as
it's funny.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. In
One of
that
my
case.
friends
It's
just
funny.
posted like a stock photo of a bunch of kids and was like, back to school.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Fantastic.
Love it.
He was like, I'm sure that these kids are going to school somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
So this time next year, I'm going to do that. I'm going to dress up. April, you'll
Please
have to
do.
come do my
I
hair.
will
And
absolutely
we'll
do
actually,
that.
what we'll do is we'll reenact the scene from Billy Madison where Adam Sandler's character is going, and I'll sing the Back to School song where he
Please,
goes,
yes.
back to school to prove to Daddy that I'm not a fool. Can we do
Perfect.
that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Look for it.
I was thinking Britney Spears.
Look for,
and-
Look for it.
That's what I was thinking.
All right.
But Billy Madison's fine.
Very good. Parents of the world, don't hate me. It's coming.
I look forward
Back to school 2018.
Now I'm so looking forward to Back to School 2018.
We have a long way to go, so write
Yeah.
write
sure.
that down in your notes so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you
To do
do
this.
it.
I'm on it.
I'll put it in my calendar for next year. Yeah, I don't even have that yet.
It was a good attempt.
That's a good attempt. I could put it in January. I have January. Well, to answer your question about like how I get people to engage on social media,
Yeah, man.
the first my automatic response is I'm funny.
Okay, that's great. It's true.
Okay.
It's true. I
just
see
let
you on
know
Facebook. It's
that I
true.
almost spit my coffee out when you said that.
But
Humble
'cause
as well.
I've got the Schultz House quote of the day
Sure.
that I've
You
been
do
doing.
that. That's
I've been
true.
doing this for 3-4 years,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
even
true.
5 years now.
Yeah.
And it has developed a following of its own.
Okay.
And so it's become a thing with my friends where they are like, yes, I got the quote of the day. It's a competition to see who can get the quote of the day, but it has to happen organically. You can't just be like, come up to me and just say something funny.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
there you go, that's it.
That's like a little mini award show that happens
It
at your
is.
house every day.
It is.
I like it.
It is. There are so many that don't make it on there because I can't, but there's a lot of them that I just forget before I can post them. But that has developed a following of its own. But then I also do have people who are very active on Facebook with their own pages and that do actually engage with my stuff. And then for this podcast, I also, crowdsourcing for work, all caps. And so then they know that I'm looking for information from them.
Right
Yeah.
on.
And so, sometimes I get lots of responses and sometimes I get a like.
I really might. And this is a serious. I'm not joking about this. I really might before our next podcast do my own crowdsourcing for work.
Okay.
Right.
Just to test it out.
Just to see
Yeah.
the 2 people who like it for pity, and the 1 person who posts
And
on
it will be
every
Cece and me.
I was going to say,
Right
I'll be
on.
sure to like it. Only like it.
and the 1 person who posts something about me being a local yokel. That will be my entire thread, and we'll compare next time. Sound good, April?
I have no idea what you're talking
All
about.
right,
Brittany.
very good.
Sounds
Pardon
good.
the
No
pun,
idea
by
what
the
you're
way.
Yes,
my
clearly have no
gosh.
idea what you're talking about.
Pardon the pun.
Oh,
No
man.
idea. Wow. Did we even introduce ourselves this time?
I'm Brandon.
I'm April.
I'm C.
Yes!
I'm CCDUI.
C. Bear and Jamal.
The guy in the corner
Secret
laughing
Jamal.
quietly is Mark. He's our silent.
Oh man, that was
Ish.
all the prologue.
Yeah,
to this
that was
Was
our
it?
prologue.
epic
Yeah,
that was
we
my
haven't even
thing.
started our topic.
Oh, that was your thing?
Yeah, I was going to
Oh.
talk about back to school.
Oh.
I did have,
Oh, okay.
but I
Great.
did have sort of like a direction it was going to go in,
Okay.
not just Facebook. But I appreciate the Facebook conversation because
Totally,
Yeah.
yeah.
social media has
Right.
gotten really out of hand, and
Uh-huh.
it's something that really interests me.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. Me too, for sure.
Yeah, I could talk forever, but I won't
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
I mean, and we could talk forever about it, but then it could also go in so many different directions.
Yeah.
That I don't necessarily think I want to address
No.
on this podcast.
We don't really have time.
Well, this
Unfortunately.
is also true.
Yeah, maybe we'll
This is
do
also
like
true.
a social media special.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sometime.
A serious podcast.
Serious
right.
one.
If you want to hear our serious selves.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I could be serious about
I
social media
don't
for
think
very
I don't
long
think
at all.
any of us could be serious for very
I would
long.
wind up talking about myself in drag as a child.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was thinking of Britney Spears again.
I was going to say, yeah, we've kind of come full circle.
We really have. We really have.
But no, where I was going with this is the whole back to school thing. I know we've already talked about. Brandon was really excited to go back to school.
Mhm.
I always loved school also.
Totally.
I always loved to learn. I thought it was really fun. I was one of those kids. And part of what brought me into this field was I realized libraries help adults continue to learn. And that's really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we do a lot of things here, cooking classes, and, we have a ukulele club that meets here and just all this stuff. So what I was going to ask you guys, is there something that you've tried to learn as an adult that you've tried so hard to learn, but you just couldn't do it?
Oh, man, what a question.
Yeah, there
Most everything
a lot.
that I've tried to learn as an adult, I think.
I will tell you one thing. So I played drums when I was a kid, and I played like the clarinet, in band. But I'm not super musically inclined, but I love music. Love it.
Oh yeah.
So I tried to pick up the guitar many times in my adult life.
Yeah.
And we have guitars here to check out. We have, all kinds of methods that I could utilize to learn it. But I've given up at this point because every time I pick it up, I just get mad and know that I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mine for sure would be so like C++ and HTML and computer programming, this kind of thing. I can't even really tell you what the things are that I tried to learn because I couldn't. I bought a couple books and I talked to working at a library. Right, we're such like this awesome myriad of different skill sets, and it's like this awesome place to be. So I talked to our tech people. I talked to our old friend Josh Garrett at length about where should I start and what videos should I watch and how can I do a little bit of this self-taught stuff, guys. If you took an fMRI of my brain, there would be a big dark area, and it would be like the computer programming area that most people's brains can at least understand a little bit about.
I'm pretty sure mine doesn't.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I had a class in graduate school, and we had to learn all that stuff. But it was prefaced with, nobody really needs to know HTML anymore, but we're going to learn it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like,
that's
well, my
gonna really
my
make you wanna
brain
engage.
shuts down
Yeah.
when someone says I don't have to. I won't have to use it.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. For me, okay, one thing that I have really, really tried to master as an adult and have failed miserably 90% of the time, baking bread.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I
Baking
can't.
Do you not
for
have like a little
sure.
bread machine kind of
Nope.
thing? Oh, well, you should get one.
No, because then I'll eat a lot of bread. That's why I have not bought one. Because that's the only reason I have not bought one. Because then I will eat just all of this bread, and it will be delicious, and I will not fit in this room.
Garlic knots for days.
Yes.
Garlic
garlic
knots.
But
No.
my family has this thing that I make or have made in the past, and that they lovingly refer to as brick loaf.
Oh.
It's where the bread did not rise.
Oh, is that like?
And it was like
So
brownies.
didn't I
was
make you some brick loaf for your
Brandon's
birthday
slow roasted
a
brownies.
couple of years ago?
Basically, I made slow roasted bricks.
Happy
of-
brick
of
loaf to you.
wheat. So what I ended up doing with the taste was fine, but the
So you could
texture,
actually chew it.
You could, with work.
And
Took some
intention.
effort, but you could still
That's what
chew
I
it.
want in a bread.
Yeah.
I want
burn more
I want
calories
work.
chewing it.
Intense
That's right. Intense
Chips,
effort.
teeth.
Yeah.
Like seriously, so I
This
ended
bread
up
requires intense effort.
You can burn calories. You can put on your running app on your iPod.
chewed April's bread. Burned 80 calories.
Oh
But
man.
so I ended up taking it and cutting it into cubes and making croutons out of it. So it was
Oh,
like,
well,
well,
that's
it wasn't-
good.
didn't go completely to waste, but it was.
Could
it
one
was like-
actually chew the croutons as well?
You could. You
Okay.
could. Well, I also put them back in the oven to like dry them out, so
Gotcha.
they would
Yeah.
crunch rather than
Yeah.
just like be chewy.
Oh yeah, the chewy crouton
Yeah.
is the grossest crouton.
I think
Yeah.
so too, but some people would not agree with
Oh,
that.
gross! Like a
Yeah.
soppy crouton. You know what I'm talking about? If it's not properly dried first,
Yeah.
and then it gets into salad dressing, and it's
Yeah.
like wet and
Oh,
flaccid
yes.
and gross.
Yes.
No,
Okay, those are gross.
Thank you, crouton.
I was thinking of the ones in Berea, was where I grew up. There used to be Columbia's restaurant,
Oh yeah.
and they had a salad bar, and they had this huge bowl at the end of the salad bar that had all of these homemade croutons in it, and they were like, I think they were all rye bread or pumpernickel.
I know what you're
rye
talking about.
Yes.
I know where you're going.
And
with this.
but they would be really crunchy, but then they would also be like oily and buttery because they were covered, but they were the best.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
I would
I
get
would
like
eat
a
those
bowl
right
of
now
croutons
alone.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Not alone.
Yes.
Alone too. I would eat those
Sitting in your
by
house,
myself.
eating them
When I was a school
by
kid.
themselves.
Yes, those were the best croutons I've ever had.
When I was a school kid, and then of course pouring over into my adult life, whenever I encounter like a food that makes me do what you guys are now doing, I would always look up at my mom and say, I wish you could fill the bathtub with this whatever food it is. And I would just get in and eat all of the whatever food this is. It started with my mom's cheesy potatoes. Like I literally fantasized about her filling our bathtub with the cheesy potatoes. And me getting in the bathtub with the cheesy potatoes and eating all of them. So now
Did you
mom,
want people
like-
to engage with you on social media? Share this stuff.
Right,
That is hilarious.
It's a true story.
Also, do you still say that to her?
Not necessarily about her cheesy potatoes, but she made a banging veggie pizza about a year ago or so.
Just
So,
a bathtub full of veggie pizzas.
for sure, just little slices.
The
of
image
her.
in my head right now is
veggie
incredible.
I love
I
the
know.
images that you create.
There's-
They're just so
There are bubbles, even though there are no bubbles in the. There are just bubbles
Ew.
in the room.
they're just
In the
floating.
image in my just
Are
floating
they
around.
like cheesy bubbles?
Cheesy bubbles, and there's like a rubber ducky made out of like cauliflower or something. I don't know.
Is it like that cauliflower that's kind of yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah.
All right. Interesting.
I'm almost alarmed.
It's a little bit like that famous
This is a lot.
scene.
This is a lot to know about you.
It's it's a little bit like that famous scene from Sesame Street where Ernie's in the bathtub singing "Rubber Ducky, you're the one."
Oh, yeah.
You guys know.
So you're
except I'm
singing
singing
cheesy
to the
potatoes,
cheesy
you're the one?
potatoes, you're the ones. Okay.
So what are the cheesy potatoes? Are they like scallop potatoes?
It's
or-
like a scallop. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was picturing like mashed potatoes that had cheese. And
I was
garlic
picturing
and all that
hash
stuff
brown
in it.
casserole, which
Oh,
also is like the best thing in the
interesting.
world.
I think that's
But I can't eat it.
colloquial.
How funny that we pictured three different things.
Right.
Probably the things we would like about.
Yeah. See, mashed potatoes. I'm in.
Mark, what would you like a bathtub full of to eat? Yeah, you think on it. Think on it.
He was like, "What? What
Right.
are you
Actually,
asking me
I
this?"
have to tell on Mark for just a minute. Gangster lunch over here. He filled a jar of queso with crushed up Doritos. He's laughing. And I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm a little unclear. There was a jar of queso, right?
Uh-huh.
Like,
But he had eaten the
Tostitos
queso
Yeah,
down
yeah,
to
yeah.
the point where like you
It was
couldn't
like
really
you know,
reach it
like
that
a
much.
quarter left,
Got it. Yeah.
and then crumbled up Doritos.
Yeah.
And then ate it with
in
a
the jar.
spoon or something.
Put it in the jar,
Basically.
mixed it up, and ate it
Give
with a
me
spoon.
that, right? And give me a bathtub full of that, Mark
Right?
Green.
I was like,
That just sounds painful.
man,
Shards of chips.
I just want to eat that and be really sick.
Yeah,
'Cause I
yeah.
can't eat
I'm
dairy,
I'm
so.
in that same boat with you, or bathtub, I guess.
I'm a very unhealthy person. In general, I don't know how to make good choices. So
Oh my god.
that's that.
Well, my topic is apocalypse survival.
Ooh,
Well, I
fun.
think
Because
speaking of queso and Doritos,
yes. Because, next week is the eclipse. On Monday is the eclipse.
the
and
Apoca-clypse.
The Apoca-clypse.
The Apoca-clypse.
The Apoca-clypse. Yeah. The Apoca-clypse. And since the world has run out of eclipse glasses,
None more.
people are going
Zero.
to look at the eclipse without them, go blind.
Please don't.
Please don't
no,
do
no,
that.
Don't
no.
do that.
No.
But there will be people.
I mean, it's still the sun, you guys.
It is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
still the sun. It's not a good idea. Don't do that. But there will be people, and those people will then go blind and then cause the apocalypse. And so
They're like zombified
now we need
in
to.
some way.
Well, it's like the Day of the Triffids. I don't know if you guys have read that book. It's the Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. Yes, Mark is
Mark
agreeing.
knows.
I've never heard
There's
this.
meteor shower overnight, and it was broadcast all over the world that there's going to be this huge thing, and there's this fantastic meteor shower, and everyone who looked at the meteor shower woke up the next morning and they were completely blind,
Wow.
and it
Oh.
was like all over the world.
Oh.
And excuse me, and it turns out that the meteors that were coming that they were seeing was actually these plants called Triffids that had landed, the Triffids had landed earlier, and they had been like growing them on farms and things for pharmaceutical purposes, but these plants would move.
Okay.
And like had these long tentacle tail things that would come out and like could kill people.
Cool.
And so after the meteor shower, when everybody had gone blind, the plants broke out and like started going around all over the world, killing people and like eating them and all this stuff.
This is like M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening meets what's the very famous H.G. Wells War of the Worlds.
Yes. Yeah. It's like The Happening meets War of the Worlds.
Cool.
So that's what. Except I'm hoping that we don't have any man-eating plants. Although don't buy any plants on the day of the eclipse.
No doubt. Everyone be wary.
Don't, and if you do, don't name it Audrey too. But anyway, so because of all of that, that got me thinking. And yesterday I saw an article from NPR, and the title of it was "In the Event of a Nuclear Blast, Don't Condition Your Hair," and that's what got me thinking on this.
I
and I was like,
that article.
What?
Yep.
What? So apparently, though, the radiation contamination particles are so small that if you condition that they can get in between the scales on your hair. Because if you look at a piece of hair under a microscope, it's scaly.
Right. Yeah.
And the radiation particles can fall in between those scales. And if you use conditioner, it causes those scales to lay down,
right,
locking the radiation particles in.
Whoa,
gotcha. Wow.
So you would have radioactive hair.
I'll probably just shave my head.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well,
no doubt.
apparently,
No doubt.
though, you can just use regular shampoo and not conditioner for a couple days, and you're fine because it'll just wash off.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I would just
Interesting
have
and
really,
also
really,
terrifying.
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy, but wouldn't, in the event of enough radioactivity to poison the scales in your hair, wouldn't we have bigger problems?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Sure, we probably would want to retreat from the.
Shoo, well, I'm gonna get in the shower now.
Glad that's over.
The
Where's
whole
my
world's
cream
dead,
rinse?
I got my Pantene.
Can't wait to use my shampoo.
Mane and tail. Here we go.
Mane and tail. But yeah, so it was really interesting to do a little bit of research on this and do a little bit of research on survivalists. I love post-apocalyptic fiction.
Me too.
I absolutely. My favorite is Alas Babylon by Pat Frank. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Oh.
I think it was written in the 60s, maybe. But basically, it has to do with a nuclear war. I think it was with Russia. I'm not 100% sure, but written in the 60s, that would make sense.
Yeah, they were the bad guys.
And then, so it takes place in Florida, and they launch nukes at different major cities all over the country. But so the main character lives in Florida, and Orlando is taken out, Miami's taken out, and
Disneyland.
So he lives in a small city somewhere like in the Panhandle, and so they go and do all of these. They raid the library and get survival books and actually learn to survive. But one of the interesting things, at one point, some of the characters are dying of radiation poisoning, and it's because they had gone into the larger cities
and conditioned their hair.
And they had actually raided like jewelry stores, and the radiation had bonded to the metal, and they were wearing the jewelry, and so like they were just like bloated and they were swollen, and it was really gross imagery. I kind of skimmed past it.
I'm all about it.
But it is kind of cool
It's cool.
too.
Yeah.
But like, so I'm just telling you guys, in the event of a nuclear explosion or an apocalyptic event of any sort, I'm raiding the library.
That's the place to raid. Yeah, for sure.
So that after I survive the initial downfall, actually, so next week.
Right after the eclipse. Anyway.
See, I mean, I read that stuff, and I'm a Walking Dead fan.
Totally.
And all I can think of is, I mean, I'm in decent shape, but I would be the absolute worst in a survival type situation.
Why do you think that?
I'm not prepared in any way.
Oh.
I don't stockpile anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
We don't eat any canned goods, so there's no canned goods in my house. Like, I would have to, I don't know, eat grass in my front yard or something.
So I'm that way too. And I don't mean to cut you off, Cece.
No.
I'm that way too, but I'm sitting here thinking, have you ever noticed that when it comes to this kind of mindset, this preparedness mind, and of course I don't mean necessarily for the zombie apocalypse, but I mean there's this show about people who have the bunkers under their house, and all, I can't remember the name of the show. Have you noticed that that there doesn't seem to be like a moderate person who's just kind of like, yeah, I'm pretty prepared. Like, I own a gun and I have enough canned goods for 3 months for me and my family.
Full of cheesy potatoes.
I got a bathtub full of cheesy potatoes. That's all I need. Instead, it's people like you and me, because Cece, I would also have to eat grass. I would just cry and die. Those are the things that I would do.
Yep.
It would be the end of it.
I would just eat what I had.
But then there's the guy who's like, I got a bunker down in Tallahassee, and my bunker has 19 years worth of stuff for me and my family only, and if we try to get close, we're going to kill you dead twice.
I know what you mean, though.
Yes,
but,
you're right.
But I do wonder if that's just for these shows,
I might be, but yes, correct.
Because, who wants to watch the person that's just like, here's my stash.
Everything's good.
This is very true.
A handful of canned goods. And
I mean,
there have to be some moderates out there.
It would be a little bit boring to just kind of, at my house we have a cistern that was built underneath the garage that used to, of course, hold water. And clearly we don't use that anymore. We have it. So the previous owners had actually knocked a door into it, and it's completely dry. And so we actually put shelves in there when we bought the house and use it for storage and different things. And so we call it our dungeon, though, because it seriously, it looks like it's just a hole knocked, a rectangular hole knocked into the cinder block wall.
Yeah,
and that leads into the cisterns, and it seriously looks like a cask of Amontillado.
Nice,
thing.
that's cool. Yeah,
so
yeah. I swear I was thinking that as you were describing it.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
for sure.
funny. So we call it the dungeon,
that's
and we don't have anything prepped in there. We used to stockpile things, not stockpile. That's the wrong word. We used to buy in bulk.
Yeah.
But we have 2 kids, and they were in elementary school, and they didn't like the school lunch. And so, go to Sam's Club and buy everything that you need to get their lunches for a month because it was cheaper, that sort of thing. Now that they're teenagers, no, we can't afford to buy in bulk to feed them.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
As soon as you buy it.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean, I was just thinking, back in the day, so like in the Cold War, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess in the 60s, I feel like any moderate person, as you say, Brandon, was probably super aware that the threat was there, though.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I mean,
sure.
I think it was very different then than it is now, maybe. Or now we're not as serious about stuff. I don't know. But I mean, I feel like moderate people had their, what do they call it? The
bug out bags.
There's bug out bags, yeah, but I guess just like a shelter. That's not what they call it.
Yeah, like a little
shelter in place.
Yeah,
type thing.
Like you say, like you open a door.
Like a cellar kind of a
yeah.
thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, bunker.
A
That's
bunker.
what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It's like
where like there's shelves of like canned green beans and
totally
tuna.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Lots
We
of
forgot the
tuna.
can opener though, so 19 years just turned into
screwdriver and a hammer.
Yeah. Right. 19 years just turned into about 19 days. We'll still
really
kill you
funny.
dead twice, though.
Bug out bags, though. I mean, we had a program last year about that, and people.
I've always been
loved
fascinated by them, but not really interested enough, or motivated enough. And I think that's probably where a lot of people are. I'm just not really motivated enough. Although I'm getting that way, starting to get that way. But what's really interesting, I did a little bit of research because I love the show Last Man on Earth.
That's a funny show.
I
That's
love
a good show.
That's a cool show. Yeah. It's false advertising, though. Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah. He's not just the Last Man on Earth.
Oops.
But
I got mad about that in like episode 3.
Well, you can
know
figure
what?
that out
I
like in the
didn't.
photos from the show.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's
The
like
promo.
not
Last
only
Man on
one
Earth
person.
has
And
him
it is so funny,
and
though.
her.
It
Kristen
makes up
Shaw.
for it.
Thank you, Kristen
It does
Shaw.
make up for it.
Yeah, no, it's a really funny show.
But
for sure.
one of the things that I liked that they did is at one point in season 2, the fuel went bad.
I have such a crush on Kristen Shaw. Sorry, go ahead.
She's great.
She's so
She is great. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
She's so funny.
Also, how funny
And
is
cute.
January Jones?
I
She
haven't
was
watched the show to that far. She's in this
she's
show?
in she's in Mad Men,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Plays
Yeah,
Betty.
right.
But yeah, she's in the show.
Is she?
Oh yeah,
I haven't watched
she's
that
hilarious.
far.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't think I've seen far enough to
Yeah.
see her.
Okay.
About like I don't know, halfway through season 1, I guess.
really?
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I must not have recognized her.
Yeah.
I must not have made the connection. But one of the things that I liked that they did, because they were living in large out in California in these mansions and everything, and then the community fell apart. Thank you, Tandy. And
Tandy. I love that they start calling him Tandy. It's so funny.
right.
and so so they, his Tandy and what is her name? Carol?
I don't know.
Is it Carol? I think it's
Kristen
Carol.
Shaw.
Kristen Shaw's character,
Completely
Carol.
Kristen Shaw.
Yeah.
They go off on their own, and so then they come back and find everybody. They've moved to another place, and so they're living large on the beach, and there's so they've got generators and all this stuff, and then the gasoline goes bad, and so the generators stop working. So then they stop having electricity, and then that leads to a whole bunch of hilarity. But one thing that I was wondering about was how long does gasoline last?
That's a question I didn't really
don't know.
realize.
Because in the event of an apocalypse,
right.
You're gonna, if you want to have electricity or
Right.
anything like that, you're
Right.
gonna need a generator.
For sure.
And so gasoline can last about 3 to 5 months depending on where it's kept.
No
I was
kidding.
just
Only
looking it up.
3 to 5 months.
Really?
If you add a few, according to one source that I found, now there were a ton of different things out there, but they were mostly for mechanics, and I was like, I'm not sifting through this. That's for, my husband does all of that stuff. It's not a sexist thing. It's just he's interested in it, and I'm not. But if you add a fuel stabilizer, it'll last 6 to 8 months. If you only have a small amount and it's sold in bottles at convenience stores, auto stores, etc., it's 6 to 8 months. But if you double your dosage, it might last up to 2 years. So depending on how much of it they had, how much gasoline they had, The Walking Dead in season, when is it that they get to the farm? Is it season 2 that they get to the farm?
To the farm. Herschel's farm.
Herschel's
Yeah,
farm,
season
yeah.
2,
Yeah.
How do they have electricity?
Ah.
So you would assume that they have a generator.
You would
So
assume.
based on how much time has passed, I did a little bit of research, and I guess up to this point 20 months has passed. So which means that in season 2 they could conceivably have still had gasoline to have a generator
Sure, right
to have
on.
electricity.
Sure.
So up to right now, season whatever, 20 months has
Or
passed.
at least up to the article that I found, 20 months had passed.
Okay.
So considering in season 2 how much time had passed, and I know it's way less than 20 months.
Oh, yeah.
So if depending on if they had the ability to use the fuel extender and actually store it correctly, they could have actually had gasoline to run a generator. Because there's a lot of things that I'm like, that's not real. There's no way.
Yeah.
Who's
There's
cutting
no
the
way.
grass?
Yes!
Who's cutting the grass?
Cutting the grass.
Maybe zombies eat grass and brains. We don't know. We haven't seen
Or
them
someone
eating
like
grass.
me who can't survive and
It's
is
just
Yeah,
like,
that's
screw
okay.
out
it.
there eating
I'm gonna-
grass. I mean,
I
that's who's
forgot you
cutting the
said that
grass.
because I was so preoccupied with the fact that I would just be crying and then dying.
Well, I mean, I was just
Who's
thinking,
got time for
April's
eating
talking
grass?
about how long gas lasts, and I'm just like, I am so tired even trying to think about that.
Uh-huh.
that I know that I would just be
I
screwed.
would just
I
be
mean,
so dead.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be
Well,
like,
I've already figured out my plan for traveling. If I have to travel during the zombie apocalypse, I love zombie movies. Like I
too,
think I
a lot.
mentioned
Walking
didn't-
Dead I love.
that zombie movies, books, all of those things. Those
Also
are one of my
love
guilty
Shaun of the Dead.
pleasures.
Mhm.
I
Rest-
love Shaun of
Rest
the
in
Dead.
peace, George Romero. He's recently
Yes.
left
Yeah.
us. We're so sad about that. I'm
Yes,
so
but
sad
he
about that.
started one of my favorite things, zombies.
Right on.
I love zombies.
Totally.
One day I will make my zombie film. I've already got the story, and I've already
Nice.
got permission from the author to do it.
Nice.
So I just
Okay.
have to make it.
Well,
So-
I know you're good at the makeup.
Yes, I have done Brandon's makeup and turned
April
him into a
once
zombie.
made me up real good.
He looked like Grover Zombie.
I did look a little bit like it's true.
It made it look like his nose was peeling away.
It was
and
good.
He had this giant schnoz, and
Yeah,
it was
man.
huge.
There are pictures that exist somewhere.
Yes, they do. It was hilarious. But and there was another thing that I really like about the makeup artists for The Walking Dead. One of the things that they're doing is that they are actually doing the makeup on the zombies to show decay.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I
they are
noticed that.
decaying
Yeah.
as time passes. More time passes, the zombies are in more and more progressive states of
Yeah.
decay. I guess is the right. What
You
I'm
know,
trying to
that
say.
show is so gross.
It
I mean,
is very
like
gross.
like
but
you
it's
you
awesome.
kind of
Yeah.
have to get over it.
Yeah.
You kind of have to get
You
over the
you really
grossness
do.
and then enjoy the show because it's
There-
a really good show.
There are
I don't do
folks-
gross very well.
There are
but
folks who
yeah, the
don't.
show.
And,
Yeah.
and they just kind of say, like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. And I'm like, if you could just get over the gross. If you
The
look
episode-
over it.
Guts in season 1.
Nope.
Oh.
I'm good. I'm good.
That was
Blip.
that pushed my limit really far. Even as doing theater,
Yeah.
doing makeup, and loving. I love makeup and makeup effects and all
Yeah.
of that stuff. I love it, and I love. See, I can handle gross, and I can handle the zombies and all this stuff because I'm watching it and going, "How did they do that?
Yeah.
How did they do that? Do they have a prosthetic on?"
So in Romero's original Night of the Living Dead, I don't know off the top of my head the year that it came out, but it was in black and white, you know.
I want to say 61, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
And there are scenes of I don't really know if you can call it cannibalism because technically they're zombie characters eating humans, but it's close to cannibalism anyway. There are these scenes, and what Romero used was chocolate syrup. Right, because it was black and white. That's what they
always used.
And big old ham hocks that the zombies were eating, just taking chocolate ham, right?
Gross.
Yeah, that's gross.
Gross.
That's one of the treats that we'll have in our online shop.
Sounds chocolate ham.
Chocolate ham.
With the zombie in you.
Just a ham hock is gross.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a night.
So while you were looking that up, can I share with you all how I think that the show should end? Walking Dead should end?
Yes, please.
Dude, please.
I think it would be so cool if they, at the very end, get to like a fence, and the fence is just covering as far as the eye can see, and the camera pans out, and on the other side of the fence is like normal life. Like
nothing.
That would be an amazing ending.
Totally normal life. Like everybody's okay, everybody's good, and they've just contained this part of the U.S. with Rick and his people.
Well, they haven't
zombies.
Traveled that much, have they? Like
no, I mean, where are they now? Are they in Virginia now?
I don't know. I haven't watched it for a while.
Yeah, I
see clips, but
the last one I watched is when Glenn was killed, and I was like, I'm going to take a break.
Oh, no. Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't know, then
you live under a rock.
You probly are in your
for sure
shelter.
Right on.
eating your canned tuna and green beans.
Yes.
Because like everybody in the world on Facebook was talking about it.
Yeah.
For sure. No, it's a big thing.
Yeah. Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968.
68.
So it was the 60s.
68. And it was the 60s. Right.
Yeah.
On. Cool.
But I've already decided how I'm going to travel. Water tower to water tower.
Oh.
Because I mean, you have to stay close. Yeah. No. Generally, they have ladders.
Sure.
Right on.
I meant like you get on top of one and just jump to the other ones.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I could do that. That's my superhero ability. I can just jump massive distances.
I like it.
Right. But only from water tower to water tower.
Yeah. Only. Yeah.
If somebody's like, can you get up on top of that building? My cat is up there. You'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. It's not a water tower.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh well.
Exactly. But it's far enough. It's close enough to civilization that there's going to be places that you can scavenge, but then also generally you can see another one in the distance, so you know where you need to go. But it also will keep you far enough away from like larger cities. So I was like, this is actually kind of genius.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah. So I've thought about this. I drive through town and I go that would make a good place to hold out.
Nice.
That building would make a really good place to hold out in the apocalypse.
For sure. I'm not and this is a long discussion that maybe we shouldn't even have, but I'm not a gun person personally myself. However, whenever I see a gun, I want to kill a zombie with it so bad. So bad. Like more than anything, like especially like a super cool like sawed-off shotgun. You don't see those. I don't see those in my daily life, but when I do, I'm like, oh, I kind of start to salivate. Okay.
Wow.
It's true.
Okay.
I really do.
But yeah, and I took a quiz. I love quizzes. Though I have learned after last time, don't do them while we're recording. Sorry guys, but you can take the quiz along with us. But I did a play buzz quiz just to see how long I would last in the zombie apocalypse. The questions were not very relevant because I don't think that it's like what is your style? What is my clothing style? That has nothing to do with how.
Yeah, who writes these quizzes? How do you want your coffee made?
Yeah.
You're like 2
what
shots of espresso.
How long can you go without a shower?
In a coconut? Wait, hold on.
And some of the options are like, oh, I would not choose any of these, so you have to choose the one that's the most relevant.
Right.
But apparently, based on the answers that I gave, I would only survive for 1 month.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's wrong.
I think it's wrong, too.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong, too.
I would want to be on your team. I've read a couple articles that are science-based.
Yeah.
As science-based as articles about zombies can be.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've come to understand, maybe you've seen these too, is that eventually their food supply is going to run out. Right?
Yeah.
And so there's a real time limit. The clock is ticking on the zombie apocalypse, and I really think it's only just over a year before, because the undead bodies, right? We're talking about zombies.
Yeah.
The undead bodies they're decomposing,
Yeah.
right? even though they're taking in sustenance, even though they're eating, live human beings, but eventually that food source is going to run out, even if all the live human beings are dead or they can't get to the last remaining survivors who are up on top of a water tower. Right? Can't
with their
get there.
sawed-off shotgun.
Or in their bathtub. With
Or
cheesy
in their
potatoes.
bathtub with the cheesy potatoes locked away.
In queso and Doritos.
Crying. Yeah, right. And so then eventually, I feel like you could ride out the zombie apocalypse if you had like a couple years or maybe even less than that.
Honestly, I think so too. In that case, we're acting like this is like a real thing that could happen. But what's really
One of my
interesting,
favorite things to do about the zombie apocalypse.
But one of the really interesting things that I've known about this site for a while because of my love of zombies and zombie fiction. The CDC actually has on their website a zombie preparedness page.
Oh, that's
Right,
true.
But because you could use the tips and the strategies and things that they give you for survival on this website for other events, it's actually really, really relevant, and it's actually quite fascinating.
Didn't they put that up in like the height of all the zombie craze?
Yeah, I wonder
back when we had less to worry about.
Yeah, right.
Back when we wanted to worry about
let's
fake
talk about
things and not
zombies,
real
right.
things.
It says that the page was. I'm on the web page right now. Dear God. And it says the page was last reviewed June 13th of this year.
Remember
So
how
they
funny
keep
it
it up to
was
date.
just to joke about the end of the world?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, next week, guys.
That's what I'm
Next
saying.
week,
It's true.
the Eclipse-alypse.
Eclipse-alypse?
Eclipse-alypse.
Eclipse-
Eclipse apocalypse.
Eclipse-apocalypse.
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 How do you even Eclipse-apocalypse?
Eclipse-apocalypse.
It helps
Okay.
me. It helps me to see the hyphen.
Rolls off the tongue, Brandon.
No, even
Eclipse-apocalypse.
better. Apoca-clypse.
Love it.
That's even easier.
Signed, sealed, delivered. New T-shirts.
Apoca-clypse.
Methuselah Apoca-clypse. Please.
And he needs to hold a chocolate-covered ham hock.
I am in love with this shirt. I want
what
a
he
dozen.
Oh, ham hock is so gross, though. Every time y'all say ham hock, I'm just like, ugh.
I don't know if
ham
I've ever
hock.
actually had a ham. I mean, I've eaten ham in my
Well-
lifetime. It's not my favorite
Well, the
thing. but-
hock you don't really necessarily
No.
eat.
It's used to
You-
just like make things really salty.
yeah, you put it in
it's
like
like-
green beans or soup beans or things like that.
It's like
Please
it's
don't.
hip,
Please don't.
isn't it?
Uh,
Is that what a hawk is?
Listen, one of the reasons
I can look it up. Let's find out. What is a hawk?
Brandon just pointed to his own hip to demonstrate where the ham hock is found, and now I'm sick. Because one more reason why I could not survive a zombie apocalypse or apocalypse, in general,
Mhm.
is I cannot kill anything and eat it. There's no way. There's just
Yeah.
absolutely no way.
You're also not the first person to be repulsed by my hawks. You won't be the last.
It's not your hot. It's just I don't want to think about.
Okay, what's really interesting, I
wanna think
typed
about
into
a ham
Google,
hock
what
in
is a
relation with
ham?
your hip.
Dear God.
Just
Good
stop.
Can we talk about jowls next, please?
No.
Oh
This
my
is also
God.
gross.
Oh my God. So I typed into Google, what is a ham? And I hadn't even typed in hawk yet, but it's the fourth one down.
Of course.
But the other options are, what is a hamlet? What is a hammer drill? What is a hammer toe? And what is a ham hawk?
What is a ham hock?
Well, I'm looking it up right now.
Gross.
What if it?
The lower segment of the pig that corresponds with the ankle or calf region.
Ankle. Oh.
It is not, in fact, your
I
hawk.
am thoroughly disgusted. I just want you all to know. I'm considering
It's
quitting the podcast. Like
a ham
all
hock
this
or
is
pork
so gross.
knuckle. It's also known as a pork knuckle.
No.
Those two words. Those two words.
Pork knuckle.
Pork knuckle.
That's like
Hashtag pork knuckle.
that's like saying we have a jar full of snout feet. Like, you want the pork knuckles or the snout feet? Like, what do you-
Pork knuckle. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What is that even? I've never
There's
heard.
pictures, but I won't show them to
I
you.
really don't.
I have never heard of anyone refer to that as a pork
Do
knuckle.
they? My question is, do they pickle
You're just
them?
shopping at the wrong stores.
Oh, I guess so.
Can I get a pickled pork knuckle
Probably.
somewhere at some bar?
Pickled pork knuckle.
There's like a jar.
Scotland.
There's a jar sitting on
Oh.
the bar, and it's got that round, that beige rust-colored liquid.
Oh my God. I'm thinking of Scotch eggs, and so you've got
Exactly.
Oh,
The
a pork
Exactly.
knuckle.
pickled pork knuckle or pork knuckle.
Like
yeah.
who says that sounds delicious?
Well, they use it for seasoning primarily.
I mean,
so
it doesn't
it's-
matter.
Yeah. No, I.
Hey, just throw a pork knuckle in there.
Seasoned with pork. Yeah, it doesn't taste
Yeah.
quite knuckly enough. Not quite sure what I can do to boost the knuckle taste of this casserole.
So did your mom put pork knuckle in the cheesy potatoes?
Maybe. If so, I'm in love with pork knuckle.
That means
I
you'll
gotta
have
ask.
pork knuckle in your bathtub with your cheesy potatoes.
So do you guys do you
God.
feel like we could steer the ship in the direction of my
Please,
topic?
Yes,
somewhere
please,
else.
At this point, please take over.
Well, I mean, we're in the mood now. I think
Oh,
to talk
yeah.
about what I want to talk about.
Well, I can only imagine what your topic
Well,
is.
I'm
then.
excited because it's one of my favorite things. So if you're still with us, thank you for for
If
that.
you survived the pork knuckle episode.
Yeah, right.
That's what this is called, by the way.
Called the pork knuckle episode, indeed.
Yeah, for sure. We'll supercut this and we'll have the pork knuckle episode. I'm really interested in memes.
No way.
God.
Yeah,
Nobody knew.
I'm really
No
interested in
way.
memes. I'm interested in memes from like a psychological and a psychosocial standpoint. I'm interested in memes because they're super funny and I like to share them on my Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a little bit of digging. Actually, I've been asking myself and talking to people about memes for years. Memes are popular, right? They're popular today.
Sure.
We understand memes to be like these little images, maybe with some text over them that we share on social media, and it's really funny.
This is what we need to crowdsource.
Right.
You need to see how many, have everybody share their favorite memes on yours.
That would
and
do.
I will have everybody
would be
share on
fun.
mine, and we'll
Oh.
see how many responses
I
we
think
get.
I would probably get more than just the local yokel.
I think you might.
No, I think that
I think you'll
Be
get
the
that if
only
you will
one.
for sure get that.
You'll
Yeah.
definitely get
Yeah.
that.
There's no doubt. There's no
You'll
doubt.
still get that, but I think you'll get more than just
I would
that.
say that's true. So I'm super interested in memes, but I say to myself, like, what is the word meme? Are memes this brand new thing that just got started when Instagram was born and now we're sharing? That's absolutely not so. As you listeners may know.
Do you have the history of memes?
Well, I know I've learned
so
just
excited.
a little bit. I've learned just a little bit.
I'm kind of excited about
well,
this.
the word meme doesn't just refer to like a picture of Velociraptor, saying
Yes.
being all philosophical. And the word meme just means a cultural trend, idea, behavior, or style that spreads throughout people within a culture.
Huh.
It's so one example, and I mean the examples are countless. One example that I thought of from the relatively recent past, but before like the internet technological, before social media, right? Do you guys remember was that really
Yes.
annoying? You couldn't
Bud Light
walk
commercial?
the Bud Light commercial.
Mhm.
I couldn't walk into my high school like senior room senior year homeroom without 18 people looking at me and be like, "Why is that?" That is by definition of the
Still answer the
word.
phone that way.
Of course, yeah. So do I sometimes,
No, I don't.
especially
Sometimes.
when my high school friends call me.
Right.
But so that's a meme. It's a cultural trend.
Okay.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. Another idea. A meme is a virally transmitted cultural symbol, right? A cultural symbol or social idea. So this brings up lots of questions, and I'm no meme scholar, but are like flags memes, a virally transmitted symbol, like the symbols that we choose are religious symbols. Could they be considered memes? I don't know the answer to these questions necessarily.
Huh. That's
I mean,
a really
just
interesting
using
thought,
the
though.
definition that you gave us, I would say so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
right.
using that definition, I mean, memes have been happening since the dawn of time.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, as soon as we could share things as a culture, as a group of people,
Cave drawings
We
or
were-
memes.
right.
Velociraptor on the
we
on
were
the cave
memeing,
wall.
right? right. So the last thing I want to say about memes, and then I want to ask you guys about like your favorite memes, like that we can share on social media today because I love them so much. I want to say that like I feel like the reason they're so popular and the reason we love them, like we four people in this room in this podcast right now are sharing like all kinds of memes right now because of the eclipse, right?
Mm-hmm.
They memes are so fast and so easy and so convenient, and we can make them, and they express like this collective experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why they're so popular, because they're these kind of quick fix, really easy to package and share shared experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I mean,
it
I
is.
think memes are a way to kind of lighten a somewhat serious thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because, Facebook is difficult for me because of the position I'm in at work. I don't make it very
Right.
personal,
Right.
so to
Mhm.
speak. Pictures I share and stuff like that, but my opinions are hardly ever overtly expressed.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel like as a library professional,
Right, as a public
I
servant.
need to,
right,
I need
right,
to
right,
be,
right.
I need to keep my opinions out of it, no
Mhm.
matter how strong they are.
Mm.
But I feel like I can share a meme
Right on.
and
Yeah.
Right on.
sort of
Right.
let people know, hey, this is what I
Right.
think, but
Well,
it's going to be veiled with humor and all
Yeah.
that.
I think that's because a meme, just by its nature, and now I'm not talking about what is that. I'm talking about a picture
Sure.
image meme that we share on social media.
Picture with text.
Or
Right.
a GIF.
I
I mean,
think-
GIFs are
Yeah,
becoming.
GIFs
Totally.
Yeah.
Huge.
I think they inherently contain a shared experience that like many so when you share one, it's not this is my opinion. It's more like this is the opinion of many people. This relates
Sure.
and hits
Yeah.
home for lots of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
think that's really it moves me. Like
Mhm.
do you know you can study memes? They have degree programs in memes and meming now at Johns Hopkins University, a couple places at SUNY in New York, and those are the only places I remember.
Well, I'm quitting my
Interesting.
job and going back to school now.
Right?
I'm going to get a PhD in memeing.
PhD in memes.
So what are your
And then I'm
favorite
gonna add
memes?
with a minor in GIFs.
Minor in gifting, right?
See, I love GIFs a lot.
Me too.
They're
a lot.
so funny.
A lot.
I think
But
that you can convey more with a GIF because
Yeah.
of the body language.
Right.
Yeah.
Combined with the text or the image that combined with the text than you can with a meme.
I love it so much.
So-
They are
For
so
sure.
funny.
So all the terrible things happening right now in the world. I shared a screenshot of someone's extremely backwards comment about
Mhm.
slavery in Kentucky,
Mm.
made on the Herald Leader Facebook page. So
Okay.
I screenshotted it and screen grabbed it,
Screen grab, screenshot.
posted in like a comments on one of my own posts.
Yeah, screenshot.
And one of my friends posted the GIF in Billy Madison where they're doing the trivia. Do you
Oh
remember
my
at the
award
very
you no
end?
I
points.
saw this.
Yes.
May God have mercy on you. Mr. Madison, at no point in your rambling, incoherent response did you come close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. We are all now dumber for having heard it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
So,
Oh
hit
my
with a
god, that was
fly.
perfect. That
But
was
yeah,
perfect.
so one of my friends, there's a fly that just literally kamikazed my face
saw
while
it.
you were
Yeah,
talking about
I
that.
saw it.
Here.
If you just heard
Behind
me
you.
swat the mic. Anyway, so one of my friends posted that in a GIF
Nice.
as the comment to this
That is
person's
hilarious.
stupidity, and yeah, it was so funny. And I'm like, man, I'm using that forever now. I didn't know
Yes.
that was even a GIF.
You
Oh,
guys,
everything is.
know-
Everything is.
I
And
should say this. I'm sorry, April. I should say this before the comments happen. But the creator of GIFs, I totally still call them GIFs, and I will not change.
Are they GIFs or GIFs?
He came out publicly and said that they're GIFs.
Well, he's
Are they
wrong.
really?
He's completely.
GIFs.
Thank you so much.
He's wrong
He is
because
so
they're GIFs.
wrong. Yeah, they're
Like the
GIFs.
G in gigantic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Not like the J
That's a
in
joke, by
Jif
the way.
peanut butter. Oh yeah, it was.
Well, what's what?
I blindly
Like
agreed.
the G in gigantic.
I was like,
So there's two G's in that word, both said differently.
good. Thank you.
Ha!
Right?
Didn't even pay attention.
That should be a meme.
It is. I got it from a meme.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Boom. All right. Put me in a
Mind
bathtub
blown.
with some of
Meta.
them memes, girl.
Man.
All right.
Man, that's hilarious.
All the memes I can think of are not safe for this podcast.
Well, like my favorite,
can
I
help.
love.
I can help.
I have two that I love that I can think of right now. I mean, and it's one because there's so many different texts that are on it that you can change the text all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle, where he's y'all got
Yeah.
any more of them?
Oh,
yeah,
Whatever,
man. I know.
insert object. or
Basically,
thing
any
here.
Chappelle show
Any
For
yeah.
sure.
memes are
So
hilarious.
I love that one. And then the kid that's on the beach, like doing like like the cha-ching thing
Yeah,
from
yeah,
rallies.
yeah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
to make the fist and his elbows back, and he's like, "Yeah, I got it." And then, so that's that. Those are my two favorites because you can put anything on those, and it's and also the ancient aliens guy,
Oh, the aliens.
the
guy,
ancient
for
aliens guy
sure.
with the hair.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, what about
is
you guys?
yours, Meme King?
Yeah. So I moved to New Jersey for a year. You guys know this. Listeners don't. And I got a driver's license, and I looked in my driver's license just like the Irma Gerd girl, the Arnstein, without I didn't have my hair
I
in
do
pigtails.
love the Ermagerd.
Oh my God, I look just like her. And there are articles about her now. She's like a very successful. I can't remember what she's doing, but she wasn't permanently destroyed by her.
Well, that's
tenure.
good.
Well, no,
that's
because
good.
it's so. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah,
It
for
is
sure.
funny, and
Yeah.
it's funny, and we have to be able to laugh at ourselves.
For
Right.
sure.
All right, we're almost out of time. What's
almost
yours?
out of time. Yeah.
Mine. I mean, anything The Office. I'm going back to gifts
Nice.
though.
Nice.
Yeah,
For sure.
You know.
very true.
Mark, I
mean-
need to know your bathtub
What's your favorite?
food.
Oh yeah, your bathtub food. What's your bathtub food?
You can also
And-
say a
and-
meme too.
It's
yeah,
and
queso
for
with
the
nachos,
meme-
isn't it?
And the meme you want to enjoy while you're in the bathtub with your food.
Right on.
Yeah, we're all looking at it. We're giving him this stare down, and he's rolling his
He's
eyes.
not happy.
He forgot. You forgot to think about it.
We might just have to begin next podcast with Mark's answers. Pad Thai, he says.
Oh, pad Thai.
Pad
Actually, that
Thai.
sounds delicious.
No, right?
Actually, you know what? I would sit in a bathtub.
A
with
fork
pad
or
Thai.
chopsticks? Chopsticks would take a long
Hands.
time. With
You're in a bathtub. Use your hands.
Good call. Good call.
All right.
like-
We are out of time.
Wait, I was going to look.
Oh, wait. Okay. We have one more thing.
Well,
very short.
No, it's all right.
Never
I
mind.
can't find the meme that I was hunting for.
Oh,
so.
too bad. Oh, man,
I
that's the
love-
story of my life.
I
I
do
love
like
the meme war.
all the T-Rex things though. Those are always
T-Rex
funny.
things.
Like
The
the
T-Rex
T-Rex arms.
Oh, my
yeah,
gosh.
totally. Right
yes.
On. Right on.
Yes, and one of my favorites is the where the T-Rex gets the grab the reachers with the,
Oh, yeah.
the sticks. I don't remember what they're called, and it says unstoppable because he's got the grabbers.
I love memes.
All right,
I love memes
dad.
too.
they're
Yay.
great.
So
And
So we've
Gifts.
talked about Facebook. We've talked about back to school. We've talked about the
Zombies.
apocalypse. We've talked
Mhm.
about Walking Dead. We've talked about memes.
the Eclipse-ocalypse, what did
The
you call it?
Eclipse-ocalypse.
the Apoca-clypse.
The Apoca-clypse.
Apocalypse.
Thank
The
you.
Apoca-clypse.
Yes,
Well,
for sure.
It's
if
much
we
easier to say.
have a 5th episode, it'll be next week after the apocalypse.
That's right.
the
Or
Apoca-clypse.
Apocalypse.
The Apoca-clypse.
Yes, the
That's right.
Apoca-clypse.
Right.
Eclipse-ellipse.
Yes. If I have not lost my job for just taking all of the survival books out of the library
Right.
and not checking them out and just leaving
Right.
and going and living on top of my water tower
In a bathtub
full of
cheesy
pad thai.
potatoes.
full of cheesy potatoes
And pad thai. And memes. All
All
right,
right,
y'all.
and
We
pork
love
knuckles.
you guys. Thank you for listening.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Of the world.